All right, we are live and in person if you're here right now with us. But hey, thanks for jumping on tonight and joining us for this is our monthly Zoominar class that we do. And Lauren and I, a week ago, Lauren and I had a totally different game plan. We were going to talk about a totally different topic. And I sent her a text and I said, hey, what do you think? How about? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about just basically boosting your immune system. Um, we're gonna dive kind of deep into that and get down into the weeds a little bit. But I think what really stimulated me to go in this direction was when I went on doTERRA's website and I found out that all these On Guard products were like no longer available, right? It was it was the hand soap, the soft gels was one of the first things to run out, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about On Guard tonight, but there's a whole slew of other options that we have. We have some other tools that you may or may not know that are actually that might be even considered more effective than what On Guard is. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And what I'm going to try to do now is share my screen.
While Angelo is working on the screen share, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already muted, there's a little microphone thing. It should have a slash through it. Go ahead and do that because any background noise is going to get picked up on our recording.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Are you seeing a picture of, and I want this out, move that. There we go. All right, so does everybody see a picture of our opening slide with our smiling faces?
Yeah.
Cool, so got the first thing done correctly. So let's see if this can continue, shall we? One of the things we really want to iterate tonight is that what we talk about is, this is our standard statement that we're used to seeing from doTERRA and some other folks that we talk when we refer to FDA, that these products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. I sent some stuff out on Facebook and maybe even some emails, but when it comes to being compliant, right now, the FDA is looking hard and fast at all of us in the natural world, right? Young Living and doTERRA were specifically mentioned during a news article saying that wellness advocates or members of this group were telling people that these oils will help cure coronavirus. And that is so not the case, all right? We know that, so we just have to kind of sometimes watch our wording when it comes to talking about what these oils can do and the body systems that they work with. So we're gonna work on that tonight about being compliant and kind of what to say. There's doTERRA put out a whole thing on compliance, a little video about what you can do and what you can't do, what you can say, what you can't say. So just as you're explaining to folks and they're curious about utilizing essential oils, just be mindful of the words that we choose and make sure we stay compliant, because a couple of years ago when the Ebola started getting in the news quite heavily, I know FDA actually went out and started shutting down websites, and it was hurting people's businesses because of the compliancy issue. So I ask that you be a little bit mindful about that stuff today. So let's talk about the immune system in and of itself, right? So the body, it's pretty fascinating, right? It's this efficient machine that requires the cooperation of a lot of different functional and anatomical body systems. Some of the organs or tissues belong to more than one body system, and they perform a variety of functions. Physical health is dependent on physiological balance, or that homeostasis. And that only happens when the body's systems are functioning properly. Essential oils and lifestyle habits, more importantly, can support that healthy coordination and the operation of the different body systems. So like I said, tonight we're going to focus on the immune system. And when we talk about the immune system, we're actually talking about several organs and cells that form a very complicated network. These include anything from lymph nodes to spleen to bone marrow to the thymus. We got white blood cells. We got lymphocytes that are known as the B and T cells. And we got leukocytes, which is just another type of white blood cell. And Lauren's going to dive a little bit deeper into those tonight and give a little bit more, have a better understanding of that. But all of these pieces work together to defend the body and to protect the body. So a healthy immune response consists of the body's ability to properly identify a pathogen and engage in a series of responses that are designed to prevent those pathogens from entering those targeted cells or those issues, all right? So the bottom line is it possible to intervene in this process and make our immune system stronger? And that's going to be pretty much the premise of the rest of this presentation. So Lauren, you want to take over this part?
All right. So there's two parts to the immune system, two main parts. The first part is your innate immune system. This is the part of the body that prevents pathogens from entering the body. So we think of these things in two contexts. One is physical barriers, and the second one is chemical barriers. Our physical barriers are things like the skin, which is also part of the integumentary system. It is the integumentary system. You have about 2 meters of skin on your body. Another is fingernails. You've got your mucous membranes. You have tears. That's another physical barrier. So if you get something in your eye that's not supposed to be there, it wells up with tears and they kind of wash it out. Earwax, not that we always think of it like this, but that's actually meant to be a barrier, a physical barrier, preventing things from getting in the body. But we know that sometimes these barriers break down. They're not as effective. And we have other barriers, known as chemical barriers, that work to support our bodies to prevent these pathogens from getting further into the body. So some of these chemical barriers are things like fatty acids, stomach acid. So if you ingest something, makes its way into your mouth, and it's not supposed to be there, your stomach acid, if it's a normal pH, which is around 1, should break down a lot of it, including the bacteria. Different proteins can serve as chemical barriers, and you might have different secretions, and that can happen all the way through the digestive tract. So when you think about other secretions, you might think of enzymes that further break down bacteria or even your food. So those can all be chemical barriers. The innate immune system provides very generalized responses to prevent those pathogens from coming in or destroy the pathogens that bypass the barriers. So this is like our first line of defense. Angelo, can you do the slides? Maybe. Oh, hang on. Thank you. All right, the second part of the immune system is the adaptive immune system. This part of the immune system says, hey, there's a pathogen here, there's something here that shouldn't be here, and it actually responds with an army of protective cells. Now, the cascade of cells that happens when this adaptive immune system kicks in is super overwhelming. So to show you a picture, to try and describe it, like we actually tried to work that into the PowerPoint, I think it would be too much and we would lose the bulk of the content that we want to provide to you. So just understanding that it's an army, it's not just one cell that comes out, but it's multiple cells that come out in response to this pathogen. That's all part of the adaptive immune system. And it's adaptive because it's adapting to the pathogen. So it looks at the pathogen, it processes the pathogen, and then it creates specific immune cells to combat that pathogen. So there's special markers on these cells. Once it's identified what's going to fix the problem, like a locksmith kind of identifying what key is going to fit into the lock, it produces a huge number of those keys, and those keys are lymphocytes, and the lymphocytes attack the pathogen, and then they also attack toxic molecules that are created by the pathogens. So you might hear of things like waste from bacteria, or waste from viruses or different parasites, and those are the toxic molecules that are created by the pathogens. The adaptive immune system also helps to deliver nutrients to the cells. So the rest of your cells, while they're being invaded, they still need food and water. So kind of like in wartime, the soldiers still need supplies. So they still need trains or, airdrops or whatever. That's what the adaptive immune system, it's doing the airdrops. And it's also removing toxins and waste products out. So it's like a good septic system. It's keeping things clean. Next. Here we go. This immune system works in tandem with the lymphatic system. So the immune system is working to create a whole army of cells, and then it works with the lymphatic system, and part of this system is the bone marrow, which creates your lymphocytes, your T cells, and your B cells. The T cells attack pathogens and the toxic molecules that are created by the toxic molecules. They travel to the thymus, which is right under your sternum. And in the thymus, they mature. So they hang out there to grow up a little bit. And then once they're grown enough, they go out and they join the B cells. The B cells actually mature in the bone marrow, and then they travel through the bloodstream and they work on destroying those lurking pathogens as well. Can you go to the next one? All right. The lymphatic system uses lymph, which is a watery fluid. It's yellowish in color, and it carries white blood cells and these lymphatic cells circulating through tissues and picking up unwanted fats, bacteria, and other substances, and it filters it back through the lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is a little bit like your cardiovascular system in the sense that it's fluid that's going around your body. But your cardiovascular system, so that's your heart and your blood vessels, so those are your veins and your arteries and your capillaries, that's all controlled, so to speak, by a pump. So your heart is pumping the blood that goes through your body. Your body regulates that through the heart pump. So you can be laying in bed and your heart will pump and the blood will get where it needs to go for the most part. And that's, unless you have some sort of disease or problem that it wouldn't. With the lymphatic system, if you're laying in bed, the lymph does not move at all. The lymphatic system is entirely dependent on you moving in order to get that fluid through the system. So you might hear about different ways to get your lymphatic system moving that sound a little silly, like jumping up and down on a trampoline, but literally that's what you need to do. It's a very mechanical action that you do in order to move the lymph through the lymphatic system and to get rid of the toxins. The other thing that's a little bit different is that you have lymph nodes throughout the body, and those lymph nodes can trap lots of waste material. And if you're not moving that waste, or if you're not moving mechanically, if you're not moving around, it's going to sit in those lymph nodes and collect, and it can cause some problems down the road. Lymphatic drainage is something that we can do to support our lymphatic system. So there's lots of things you can do. One of those things, like I mentioned, was the trampoline, the jumping up and down. It sounds a little silly, but it's literally just moving that lymph around. Other things you can do are lymphatic massage. And it's not like a deep tissue massage. It's completely different from the massages I always thought of when I thought of massage. This is a very light touch around where your lymphatic system goes, and it's very directional. So the idea of lymphatic massage is you're pulling fluid away from your lymph nodes and you're moving it into a drainage area. And there's a link here, and I'm going to leave this up for a little bit so you guys can write down the link if you want. It's youarehealer.com/video/self-lymph lymphatic-drainage-massage. It's about a 7-minute video, and there's a massage therapist that shows you how to do head, neck, and ears with the massage. And you start around your clavicle, and you're almost milking the lymph system so that to cause that lymphatic drainage. And you start low, so you have, like, think of a clogged tube, and if you don't start close to the bottom where maybe that clog is, if you start too high, you might cause backup and make the clog worse. So she shows you in that 7-minute video some easy, simple techniques you can do to just move the lymphatic fluid through so that you have nice drainage. And what you'll find is if you go along the video with her and then you practice afterwards, you're going to find that your sinuses might open up more, and you're just going to feel better. You're going to feel less congested. So that's a great way to support the detoxification system and the lymphatic system in the body. Another way to support lymphatic drainage is by doing dry brushing. Very similar to lymphatic massage, you're going to see a lot of the same moves used. So if you look at the, not a mannequin, but the little figure of the woman there, if you look towards the top of the chest, you can see there's 2 arrows going down towards a V, just like you would start with the lymphatic drainage technique. Now, the dry brushing, you're taking a natural bristle brush or a dry brush, and you're just literally brushing several strokes over each of those areas of the skin in the direction that it indicates. When you get a dry brush, you might also get a glove that is a little rough. It feels like somebody's hand who needs a lot of hand lotion. And you can use that to kind of break in your skin to the dry brushing. Not everybody has skin that's ready for that dry bristle brush right away, so you can use that glove. And I got mine off of Amazon. It was $35. It was 2 brushes and a glove, and it came with some directions, and it went through step by step where you start. It only takes about 5 minutes when you're doing it. And my recommendation, if you've never done it before, is to do it once with the glove. Do it while you're standing in your shower before you take a shower, so that way you can wash all the dead skin down the drain. And then see how your skin feels the next day. If it needs a little bit of a rest, give it a rest before you go back to dry brushing. Once you have the strokes down, you can start adding essential oils to your dry brushing to enhance the impact of how you're dry brushing. If you look up different oils like grapefruit, it'll say things like it's supportive of the lymphatic system or the immune system, or it helps with purification. Well, if you think about what the lymphatic system does, it helps to detox the body by taking all that stuff, the bacteria and the fat and the stuff that's traveling through your body, and it's trying to move it out. So it'll move it back into the blood, and then from the blood, it'll get filtered through the kidneys, and some of it might go back into recirculation and get broken down by the liver and then get excreted in the stool. But it's all part of that intricate system. So using something like grapefruit or really any of the citruses can help with that purification process. And if you're reading in your books, hey, this can help with your lymphatic system, this is what it's talking about. Turmeric, we know, is an anti-inflammatory oil, and that's another one to use on your dry brush or to take prior to dry brushing. Petit grain or petitgrain, I'm not sure how you say it, is another citrus oil that comes recommended by dry brushers as another way to just help clean things up. Lemon is probably the cheapest way to do that. Just remember, when you're using a citrus oil, even with your dry brushing or when you're doing that lymphatic massage, you want to make sure that you're not going to be out in the sun 12 to 24 hours after you apply that. And then we have Slim and Sassy, which is a blend of a bunch of different oils. And Slim and Sassy is a metabolic blend, but it has a lot of those oils in it that support lymphatic drainage and just the lymphatic system.
Yeah, Lauren, one of the things I found out, the reason why citrus oils work really well at this is because they're very high in the constituent called, where is it? Limonene. And limonene is fantastic for helping the body. And depending on the oil, you can target different body systems to give a little boost or a little kick. You know, lemon oil, aside from all of the other things that we know it's good for, it does help support cellular function. But Slim and Sassy and grapefruit, that's good for supporting healthy lung and respiratory function. Petitgrain oil is also good for healthy immune system and nervous system function. So really, you know, you can kind of look at what body system are we trying to target, one more prominent than another, or are we looking for overall? But it's that limonene constituent that's the heavy hitter and the big player in this.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. So this is where we're going to be super compliant. All right, there's lots of disorders of the immune system, and we can't really name them by their disease, but we can tell you there are some classes that you may have heard, and generally what those classes mean, what those terms mean. So if you've heard of autoimmune disease, it's usually a disease that's associated with an overactive immune system. So the immune system is functioning way too much. And now instead of just attacking pathogens, it has started to attack the body. And it causes lots of problems when it does that. Inflammatory diseases, those are just diseases where maybe we're not really sure what's going on, but we know there's an inflammatory process in the body that can cover a huge range of things. But again, it's somehow connected to being a disorder of the immune system and perhaps even of an autoimmune nature. When you think about something heavy like cancer, that's basically the immune system not being able to get rid of cells that are mutated or shouldn't be there, and those cells accumulate, and then you have a big buildup of a mass or a tumor or something. So that ultimately comes down to being a disorder of the immune system. And then you have immunodeficiency, which can or cannot be a disease. That can actually be caused by other things. So one could be maybe you have a genetic predisposition, but there was something in the environment that set it off. One could be that it's acquired from a pathogen. We've heard of a variety of different pathogens that can cause our immune system to really diminish in the capacity of what it can do. And then if you might have heard people succumb to infections because their immune system wasn't working well, and it's because of these pathogens. Or the immune system can be underactive. It can be not responding as well because of pharmaceuticals from drugs. So some of the drugs that work for cancer are immunosuppressive medications. So they're trying to cut down on what the immune system is doing because that is required while they're treating the cancer, or that's maybe a side effect that they can't get rid of while they're treating the cancer. But at the end of the day, the person's immune system is, I would say, you know, for lack of a better way of saying it, shot, where it's not really able to respond. So maybe before taking the drug, the person could get a cold and kick a cold in a week. But after being on the drug, that person gets a cold and now they're in the hospital and they're really, really sick. Angela, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you did a very good job there of with selection of your words.
All right. So after looking at some of those scary things that can go wrong with the immune system, we know that there are some things we can do to help with the immune system. Angelo, I'm just going to keep talking until you stop me. So I'm going to stop so you can take over.
I'll get this.
I would have just kept going.
I'll get this one. All right.
Okay.
So some of the things we can do, I guess it was actually this recipe on the left is what I saw about a week ago when On Guard's hand sanitizer
Your phone is
became unavailable, right? So what we were looking at was, let's go ahead and we can actually make our own. And you can see here where you can take 10 to 15 drops of On Guard, a little bit of apple liquid extract. May or may not actually need that, but the liquid glycerin and the distilled water, they usually, the recipes call for a distilled water because distilled water has less of a chance of kind of getting moldy if it sits around too long. But one of the key ingredients there is that 190 proof grain alcohol. Anything actually over 90 proof alcohol will work, and you can get anything from a vodka. There's also even isopropyl alcohols out there that you can get at above 90%. So there's a small recipe that, you know, when I have a couple of bottles that we take to the gym with us or whatnot, and when they empty, I'll go ahead and use this kind of a recipe to refill that, because, you know, when nowadays we're kind of going through this hand sanitizer pretty quickly. So there's a simple recipe for you to kind of put together your own hand sanitizer. The other big thing that we use, and that is now currently out of stock, is the foaming hand soap. This was actually our initial foaming hand soap before we started using On Guard. The cool part about this is you can use any oils that you want. Initially, we started using On Guard and lemon in the kitchen, and then we used On Guard and a little bit more wild orange in the bathroom. That was just because of the scents that we wanted. So this works well. You got to play with the Castile soap though. Some people like it a little soapy. Some people like it a little bit less soapy. So it's about finding that sweet spot where you like it. Now the other thing is this Castile soap doesn't lather up as much as regular hand soap does. So if you're looking for that big lathering effect, you're not going to get it with the Castile soap. But you will definitely get your hands clean, and having the oils in there is definitely going to benefit from that. You put just a little bit of fractionated coconut oil in there, just to kind of help keep it all mixed up. If you notice that with the hand sanitizer recipe, you're going to have to shake that up every time you use it, but not so much with the foaming hand soap.
Angelo,
Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite man soap scent?
I do not, because I'm an On Guard junkie, and I've told and I love the smell of On Guard, so that's our thing. We're totally okay with that.
I just want to say that for me, because my skin's so sensitive, I found that putting myrrh in that really helps with the sensitive skin, especially with as frequent of hand washing as we're doing now.
Yeah, that's a good thought. That's cool. I like that idea.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure. Go ahead, Kay.
On the hand soap, I see 2 tablespoons of the Castile, 1 tablespoon of fractionated coconut oil, and then 10 drops of an essential oil. That's not much. Do you add that to water then?
Yeah, you top it off with water. I'm sorry, that didn't say that, did that?
No, I just thought that's an awful little bit of soap.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're gonna top that off with water, and you know, we put 10 drops of each oil in there. Again, you can make it whichever way you like, the best way that you like it. That answer your question?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Good catch, Kay.
Thank you. Some other things we can do. I know you guys are probably tired of me talking about the Lifelong Vitality Pack. Our body works best when things are in balance. The premise of mega dosing, what we did years ago when we used to take 2,000 milligrams of whatever nutrient, and we found out that really wasn't the best way to go. The body doesn't operate very well on extreme lows or extreme highs. It likes to have that homeostasis, and it likes to have that even keel kind of thing. And that's where this product really comes into play. Now, the cool part is that if you don't want to go with the LLV, You can also get the nutrient pack, which consists of the microplex VMZ and the ZE omega. Those two are considered the foundation for nutritional health. So you got your microplex VMZ, which is your whole food supplement. Your ZE omega is your kind of your omega 3s. But again, the one thing people don't know about or aren't aware of is that it's not just omega 3s that we need, it's omega 6s and omega 9s. This will help balance that out. We can get some of that stuff from our diet, but again, the diet we're eating today, even if it's extremely healthy, what we're finding is that it just doesn't have the same nutrients in today's food that we did, 50, 60 years ago. Excuse me. The alpha CRX is really good for an antioxidant. Again, it helps balance out those free radicals, and with it offloading those free radicals, then that gives your body a better opportunity to be balanced out and body systems to work more efficiently and more effectively. Lauren, I'll give you this one.
All right, there we are. So adaptive. This is a really unique blend that came out last year at convention. doTERRA came out with a 3-pack like is shown on the picture, and there is a roller, which is awesome for just easy application, rolling on your pulse points, rolling on the back of your neck. They also have the 15 ml vial, and that's great for diffusion. Or if you need something that's a little bit more concentrated than the roller. And then they have calming blend capsules, adaptive capsules, that are a slightly different formulation. The idea behind adaptive is it is addressing a stress response that happens in your body. Your body doesn't know why you're stressed. It doesn't know if it's a job issue, if it's a lover issue, if it's angry because you're stuck in traffic issue, or if it's an angry because the liquor store closed yesterday and you ran out issue. Yeah. You are stressed from even just working out. Running a marathon can cause your body a lot of stress. Stress is stress. And at the end of the day, too much stress can be a bad thing. Too much stress can cause inflammation and toxicity. So in order to balance that, they gave you something you can use to help. Diffusing adaptive, that can happen during the day or overnight. It's not something that's very sedative. It can actually help you chill out enough to deal with the fact that your ER is crazy and people are losing their minds and everyone and their brother is calling to see if you're testing for COVID. That may or may not be happening to you. But you can.
Can I stop you just a second? Just so you know,
Yeah.
when I'm looking at my screen, the pictures are interrupting your the slides that you did. So the words that are to the right of my screen, I can't read. You see that when you look at your screen?
Yeah. If you take your mouse and hover over the pictures, if you go up, you'll see a little dash. If you hit on that, it'll take all those pictures away.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Live and learn.
Yeah.
Love it.
We're a
Love
collective
it.
brain.
Thank you. Thank you. We have IT support live. So all that to say, you can diffuse adaptive really anytime. I find that diffusing it at night can help, but I take the adaptive capsules at night. That's a really good way to help calm your body down too. It has some GABA in it, and GABA is one of those things that helps with the calming effect. For people, and this is something that I am kind of concerned about, for people who are used to a regular intake of alcohol, it's the alcohol interacts with their GABA receptors, and when they don't have the alcohol, all of a sudden those receptors are like naked, and that's when they start to have problems, like they're really agitated or they go through DTs. I'm not worried about it because I'm worried about going through DTs, but I'm worried about all the people that maybe don't have access to what they're used to taking in now because things like the liquor store have closed. And, you know, now we're in a situation where our health system might be overwhelmed as it is with people that are already concerned, and maybe even a little bit more overwhelmed by some people who aren't used getting what they're used to getting.
Lauren,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but this may also take us back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, where we start brewing our own moonshine.
That's right.
I was thinking, John.
But think of all the issues and the toxicities, how many people gave themselves lead poisoning from when they were making their own hooch.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. And I don't know, I live in the mountains, so I feel like there's probably some hooch makers up here already that I just need to find out who they are and network with
Need
them.
to make better friends.
I know.
So,
Oh
so
my.
Elaine takes the capsule every day. She takes it at lunch, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. And how does it make you feel? Or how does it help you feel?
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say something funny, but I won't. Actually, I didn't know that it was really doing anything, but if I don't take one, usually by dinner time, I start feeling very low. So it kind of evens me out. So I don't notice a big difference, but there is
Mhm.
some. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
One of the
if I-
things, oh, go ahead.
If I may, I take mine first thing in the morning, and there was a period of time where I ran out, and I noticed that I became very moody, and so I was so glad when I got it back into me. Now, it took me about a week till it started working, and Elaine, I don't know if you've noticed that if you've been off of it for any period of time. It takes about a week to get back into your system.
Mm.
Elaine, did you have anything to add to that, or have you been pretty consistent?
I've been pretty consistent. I might forget one day, even though it's sitting right in front of me when I'm having lunch. And sometimes, you know, when I see it, like before dinner or something, then I'll take it. So I've been pretty consistent with getting it there at lunchtime. So I haven't been off of it for any length of time to notice that.
Okay. Yeah, I take it as well, and I try and take it at night. And what I've noticed is when I'm taking Adaptive at night, and I'll take it with Serenity, I have more vivid dreams, and that helps me to process what happened in my day a little better. At night's your time to rest and digest. Your parasympathetic nervous system's trying to turn on. So for me, that seems to work the best.
Cool.
Yeah, I just take Serenity at night, and I have terribly vivid dreams. Just I'm right there. I can tell you the color, shape, and size of everything.
Now, that Serenity, is that the oil or is that the capsules?
Oh, the capsules.
Capsules, yep.
So some of the other things that we can do, and as we had mentioned before, it's kind of a well-rounded system. Lauren was talking earlier about getting the lymph system working, and that can be simple as jumping up and down. But any kind of exercise is going to be good for you. The body needs to move around. It needs to kind of have those different things impacting it, because that's what's going to actually help the systems work even a little bit better. The cardiovascular system is going to work a little bit more efficiently, which is in turn going to lower your blood pressure and ultimately can control some body weight. And then it can boost up that immune system as well. So there's really nothing bad that can come from exercising. And when I say go out and exercise, that means to go out and do what's good for you, right? It's not like, okay, I gotta be the guy that lifts all the heavy weights, or I gotta be the girl that can run 14 miles. No, it's do what you can do, the exercise that you can tolerate, because any kind of movement is going to be good movement. Some of the other things that we talked about is controlling your blood pressure, alcohol in moderation. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is helping us with that by closing all the liquor stores. So we had to go out and some of us had to go stock up because, you know, I think it was the Buddha that said everything in moderation, even moderation. But you know, controlling your blood pressure, alcohol in moderation, getting enough sleep. That's probably the #1 thing that people miss out on the most, as they figure out that, oh, I can get through a full day on 5 hours of sleep. Well, maybe you can, but that's not giving your body enough time to recoup and regenerate and revive itself to boost up those body systems so that they're working more efficiently. I can tell you that every time I get a cold, it's usually within 2 or 3 days that I don't get good sleep. If I only get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep, 3 nights in a row, I usually get a cold after that. If I can get my 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep, I'm good to go. My body systems stay at their peak. And of course, supplementing that with the supplements and some, you know, using some essential oils to help with some of these other things. That's all just kind of helped me out to help me. It helps me and my body to stay balanced. Lauren, I'll hand it back over to you.
All right. So sometimes our cells, when they haven't been doing so hot for a while, can get really thick, hardened cell wall. And when that happens, we're not able to get things in and out of the cell that need to go in and out of the cell. Things like oxygen, super important. And oxygen's, it's really super important because illness and disease can't exist in an oxygen-rich environment. So if you've heard of things like these oxygen chambers or these barrow chambers that they use for wound healing, they use for all these different really cool medical things, it's based on that premise. So you do a lot of healing when there's oxygen there. And when a cell has a really hard cell wall because of whatever has happened, it's deprived of oxygen, you have to be able to do something to get that oxygen in and out of the cells. There are some, well, all essential oils really can penetrate the cell wall, which is going to help with the oxygenation of the cell. So using essential oil just in and of itself can help better oxygenate your cells. How cool is that?
That's so cool.
It's so cool.
Wicked cool.
It is so cool. All right.
All right. Lauren, you want to hit on DDR prime?
Sure.
Because that is one that a lot of people forget about, but it's actually one of the better oils that are out there.
It is. So DDR prime stands for DNA damage repair, and it has a lot of different essential oils in it. Angela, you're going to help me with rattling off of what's in there, but from memory, I can tell you wild orange, lemongrass, thyme.
I have a book that's going to tell me that.
Naoli. There's just a big variety of oils in DDR prime. And the big concept behind DDR prime is that it helps you turn over or make new cells that are healthy, and it helps with the process of apoptosis, which is getting rid of those cells that aren't healthy. That cell death is apoptosis. There's lots of really cool things about thyme specifically, and there's some neat videos out there. One is done by Stephanie Poe. If you're interested in that, it's a few minutes long, and she is a researcher that did a lot of work with inflammatory processes specific to the lungs and viruses. So in her work, she did a lot of studying with things like frankincense and thyme, and she was just totally blown away as to how intuitive it was for doTERRA to put these oils together to come up with DDR prime. So this is something that you can be using on a daily basis just to help with your overall health, or it can be something that if you're in a time where maybe you think you might be exposed to something, or you're not feeling well and you don't have your go-to On Guard. I think everybody goes for On Guard when they're not feeling well. DDR prime is the next great choice.
Yeah, and if you add a couple drops of pink pepper to that, that will actually help with the aid in the apoptosis effect. So you get rid of those cells that you don't need. The other oils that were in there are frankincense, orange, litsea, lemongrass, summer savory, thyme, and clove. So it is quite a good mix. If you are an individual that makes their own capsules, I would highly recommend that you get the oil itself, because the oil will go a little bit further than the gel caps. Gel caps is good for a 30-day supply. The recommended dosage for that is 1 capsule in the morning and 1 capsule in the evening, or with dinner. In making my own, Sean went out and did a little and reached out to doTERRA and asked and said, hey, if I want to make my own capsules, because I get the oils and not the capsules themselves, how many drops do I put in this? He got a reply back from them, and it said, put 4 drops of DDR prime in your capsule, because that's what's in each of the gel caps that they have. So if you're going to make your own, put 4 drops of DDR prime in there, and again, you can add 2 drops of pink pepper if you want to assist with that apoptosis.
The clove I didn't touch on, but that has the highest antioxidant rating on the ORAC scale. So antioxidants are found in things like blueberries. Blueberries are very high in antioxidants, but exponentially greater is that clove oil. So that can really help with things like inflammation and just general health support.
All right. And we're going to end it with this one, Lauren. This is a recipe that you came up with at your last rollerball class.
Yeah. So this is the respiratory and immune system helper. We've got On Guard, which is the protective blend that is now on, not really ration, but you're limited to 1 bottle an order per account. But really 1 bottle has 250 drops. So a bottle is going to take you a very long way. And this roller only requires 5 drops. In addition to the On Guard, you're going to add 3 drops of oregano. Oregano is one of those powerful immune system oils. And you can look up more information about all of these oils in your Modern Essentials books. I'm trying to be real compliant here in how I speak about them. So I think the best way to say it is oregano is really good to support the immune system. Turmeric is known for its anti-inflammatory properties. So sometimes you need to bring down the inflammation so that other things can get to work. I will often drink On Guard and turmeric tea. So to put these 2 together was like a no-brainer for me to support my immune system. 2 drops of petite grain. So again, that can help support the immune system. It can help support the lymphatic system. Peppermint, which is a stimulant. It also helps open you up. So when you're like looking to breathe a little bit easier, you're a little stuffy, you find that peppermint really helps open you up. And lemon, which is another great one for the lymphatic system. And it also has some drying qualities to it. So it might help dry up some of those extra secretions. You're going to add all of those to a roller ball, and then add 5 milliliters, or about 5 milliliters of fractionated coconut oil. If you've got sensitive skin like I do, put all of that in a 10 ml roller. And if you want to use it, you want to use that recipe for a 10 ml roller, but you don't have sensitive skin, just double the recipe. Once you have that recipe together, you want to apply that over your sinuses, over your throat, and over your chest. If you have somebody that can hit up your spine, That's a great place for it too. And then on your feet. Now, once you've put that on, remember this does have some citrus oil in it, so you don't want to be out in the sun after you apply this, but you can go back to that video on lymphatic drainage and you can use some of those massage techniques after the application. And not only is that going to help get it into your skin a little better by using some heat and touch, but you're also going to get the benefit from the lymphatic drainage.
How cool is that? And there's a couple of the references that we were using for this presentation. And that should be it.
Yeah, Kathy and Crystal.
So, one thing I wanna hit upon is we get a lot of comments sometimes when it comes to the usage of oregano. And because of the potency of oregano and the constituents and the composition of it, one of the concerns is that you may hear somebody say that, well, you should only use oregano for 10 days and then come off it for 10 days because it's kind of like an antibiotic, so to speak. And you shouldn't be having it introduced to the body all the time. I'm gonna caveat with that, that sometimes it's okay to take oregano every day. We do have other team members that are seeing Dr. Herzog, a naturopath here in Pennsylvania, and part of their prescription is to take an On Guard soft gel cap every single day, On Guard Plus. And that does have, I don't know how many drops of On Guard are in there, whether it's 1 or 2, or oregano, but
I'm here to help.
thank you. It is okay at a low dosage to take on a daily basis. Now, if you're going to do something like a flume or a flute, a flu bomb, then you may only want to take that for a couple days because you're onboarding a larger dose of oregano during that time. So, but if you're taking it just 1 or 2 drops a day, I've started to include that in my capsule, 1 to 2 drops of oregano, 1 to 2 drops of On Guard with everything else that I put in there, just to keep my immune system boosted as best I can. And plus we get out and try to take some walks around the block and, you know, do some little bit of exercise that we can. And, you know, whatever else, because even now the gyms are closed. We can't even get to the gym. So, so Lauren, do you have anything else?
No, I think you covered that very well. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, actually we do.
Yeah, you talked about having vivid dreams are good for working through the earlier parts of the day or rough parts of the day.
Yeah.
Can you expound on that a little bit?
So your brain has to process everything that you encounter. There's only so much that you can soak in and like is in your consciousness and your awareness. You take in everything your eyes can see, your ears can hear, but you don't always process it. So overnight while you're asleep and you're in that resting period, that's your brain's opportunity to get caught up. So when you take something that helps to put you in more of a parasympathetic state where you are in that restful state with your nervous system, your brain has an even greater opportunity to get caught up because it's less stressed than it normally is.
Thank you.
So that's a good thing then, to have those vivid dreams every night. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I know you may feel like you've been hit by a truck the next morning.
You're
Yeah,
essentially
sometimes it's a little worse than that.
What was that, Sean?
you're actually defragging the brain's computer and
Yeah.
allowing it to process information. And I don't know about you guys, but initially the vivid dreams were like horrible.
Oh yeah.
But then they get better and you actually look forward to them.
Oh boy, I'm not there yet.
Get them in 4K.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
That's a good way of putting it, though.
Yeah, it's amazing what you don't know, but then the next day you can process things, and it's like, oh, it puts you in a different frame, and how you handle things it definitely helps.
Another thing that helps right before you go to bed is to tie up loose ends as much as you can. So like for me, that's seeing that my sink isn't full of dishes. I am restless if I go to bed and my sink is full of dishes. And that just, it's one more way to just help with the stress.
The other thing, if I can chime in here, is about an hour before you're thinking about laying down, start doing things that are not so mind consuming. I'm really starting to do a lot of the 417, 432. There's some in the 500 frequency range of listening to those musics to just allow my mind to just veg. Don't watch anything that's super exciting, or the binge watching is horrible, because then your brain is so engaged that it actually ramps yourself up. So start doing those things. The stupid stuff, folding laundry, you know, something that you really don't have to think about, helps that mind up to go to sleep.
I didn't know laundry was supposed to be folded. I thought it just stayed in the laundry basket.
No, it stays on the couch.
Until company comes, then I gotta fold it.
I'll teach you, Ange.
All right. Okay.
And Angelo, you were in the military. That surprises me.
Yeah, I'm a little.
No, he was raised with 3 sisters.
Oh, okay.
Older sisters.
Connie, do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Hey.
No. So that adaptive, does that like help calm you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I like that one. I like that idea. All right.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All
I'll
right,
leave it.
thank you.
Yeah. I teach at Hacks Lab when it's open. With all this COVID stuff right now, it's not open. But what I'll do with the adaptive blend too is I like to be a human diffuser, and I will roll that over my lab jacket before I have students, so it helps to calm them down. They're not so wound up.
Oh, okay. I work at a daycare, so this is awesome.
Yeah.
You probably want the roller balls for that immediate satisfaction.
I'll put it on the doorknobs. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, what's interesting, Lauren, is I tried that Friday because of what was happening in this, but one of my students, they got horribly sick because of what I was exuding with that adaptive.
Really?
Really. It must be something in the floral scent, and I mean, they had to leave. I had to then go and wash it off my neck, which ticked me off.
I mean, I had a headache the other day, so I put peppermint oil on my, where you're supposed to, and somebody's making brownies, and one of the kids goes, I don't like peppermint brownies, and the teacher goes, that's Miss Connie's peppermint oil is funny.
Yeah, when you're wearing them, the oils topically, you do kind of turn into this human diffuser, because the oils really work well with the little bit of temperature that your body heat's giving off. And I've stood in circles having conversations, and somebody looks around and goes, all right, who's the one that smells pretty? And I got to raise my hand because I'm the one that smells pretty.
Yeah.
So yeah, you gotta watch the some people do have that sensitivity to the oils. So
But they're just wrong and should be killed.
So, any other questions?
Can I just make a comment?
Please do, Amy.
I just wanted to say that I like how we talked about the lymphatic system, and I am a patient of Dr. Herzog's, and she did recommend just a month ago when I had a telemedicine appointment with her about jumping on the trampoline, and that was more so for my daughter who also sees her, and then the whole lymphatic massage. She told me that about a year or two ago, and now it's time that I actually try it.
Time to do something about it.
Yeah.
But it was just neat to hear that reiterated and stuff like that. And just within the last month and a half, we had that discussion about just jumping on the trampoline to get your lymphatic system moving, and so it's just really cool.
Yeah.
So, and the whole thing about smelling the oils, I think that patchouli is like embedded in me, because I don't even put it on, and people will come up and give me a hug and say, wow, you really smell good. You smell like patchouli. And, it could be months before I wear it. So, and today I was at a doctor's office and I just put On Guard on, and one girl goes, I smell something cinnamony or fall. And I'm standing right beside her and she goes, is that you? And I said, yeah, it's my oils. Oh, you smell really good. So you get both sides. Some people like them, some people don't.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So good stuff.
Good. I'm glad you found it beneficial. Another way to get your lymphatic system working, simple thing to do is walk barefoot through the grass. Just something to stimulate the underside of your feet really gets the lymphatic system moving. So
Good to know.
with the warmer weather coming soon, I look at our neighborhood kids. There's a pack of them, and I don't think the parents buy them any shoes, because I never see them out there with any shoes on. And that's what's going through my mind, is it's cool because that's their lymphatic system being stimulated and it's working for them. So, but that's just another way to do it. So, well, I hope you guys found this a little bit educational, a little bit beneficial. We'll get this copied over and get this recording up over to our Facebook page. If you would like it emailed to you, or I can email you the link as well, because I put it up on our YouTube channel. So
that would be great, Angela.
What was that?
That would be great if you could email that link.
All right, I will get you that link.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for doing this.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. God bless.
Thanks, Lauren.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes,
one of the things that we are going to be doing is follow-ups. So on next Tuesday, we're going to pop on for 30 minutes, probably around the same time, do a little Q&A. So if you guys have tried any of the things that we've suggested, that would be a great time to ask your questions. And we'll tee you up for the next session, which will be, again, the following Tuesday. I have a feeling we're all going to be kind of sheltered down, if you will, at home for a while. I know California, I have a buddy in San Fran, and they've been told to hang tight until the 7th of April. So why not learn a few things, right, while you have some of this extra time? So that's our plan, at least for the next few Tuesdays. And we'll keep you posted as to what else is happening.
Well, Angela, a plug that you pushed me into is signing up for the certification class. We're going to have all this extra time, so why not do that online class?
Yes, doTERRA has officially launched their essential oil certification class, and I only handed that link out to a select few individuals at first, but as I'm starting to do the course, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, this is really good information. So, if you're wondering which oil to use or why this oil works better than the other thing, it's not going to make you a chemist by any stretch of the imagination, but it does give you a better understanding of the chemistry behind the essential oils. So you can you yourself get better utilization of the oils that you're using. So I'll send that out via email and also post that on Facebook as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in that, Angela.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I have a question real
What do you
quick.
got?
about that. I haven't started on it yet. I'm wondering, is there a printed version of any of the stuff you're learning?
Yes, as you're going through it, you do have the ability to download a PDF file
Oh,
for the
awesome.
section that you're in.
Okay.
And what I've done is I've made a folder on my desktop, and as I listen to each video, I'll then download the PDF to that folder, so you do have that material to go back and look at later on.
Good.
Something else, if you download Real Player, you can then grab the screenshot, and if that doesn't work, there's a relatively cheap program called Snagit that you can take a screenshot of that video content.
Good
Yeah,
to
there's
know.
a couple different ways you could do it. Kay, we can get together offline and work you through that if you want.
Hey.
All right. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. It was good seeing you all. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
welcome.
Okay.
We will catch up with you guys again soon.
Be
Take care.
healthy.
Bye.
Yeah, stay healthy, stay well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lane.
Bye-bye.